Hello everybody, my name is Factoristic, and these are top 10 tips and tricks to help you through your Microtopia journey. Before we start, viewer discretion advised. There may be a few spoilers depending on where you're at in the game that will be showing in the background just because of how far I am in the game. But if you guys are okay with that, then go ahead and see these tips and tricks. Without further ado, let's begin. Tip number 1 is nested counters. So a lot of you have probably already heard of these, however I would like to go over them. If you want to keep track of how many ants go into a system that you have, for this one it is 16, but you also want to make sure that you only have one ant going to each machine, then you can have a nested counter. So that is a counter, which is just set to 1, and then a normal hauling path to here, and then a timer that is set to 0, and then everything will work exactly like this. Nobody gets in their way and everything works perfectly. Tip number 2. So this is kind of a rumor I had heard, but I'm kind of seeing the results of it right now. You can delete these flowers here like this, and some of you might be worried if you accidentally do that. However, you can actually purposely do that and fill your whole map with floor tiles, and these will actually grow back over time, which from what I could see, it's like every minute or two another flower will regrow, and ideally they will regrow in a spot where flowers grow. However, you could cover the whole area and then just have a targeted area for flowers. So you could definitely optimize a energy collection setup using that method. Tip number 3. If you are having problems with population control, there's actually a little trick that you can use due to the fact that larvae count as population. You can go over to here, pick up a larva, and then quickly press drop with X, and then move on, and then you can just keep repeating this process and just drop a bunch of larvae. I have used this method to complete all of the objectives that I need for population control, and now I have no more use for it. But I did need to get to 450 ants, so it's actually very useful. Tip number 4. If you have not yet unlocked the stockpile gate, then you may want to do so as soon as you can. Why? Well, that is because stockpile gates can be used to count exact ants that go into a system that you may want to, well, count the exact amount of. So, one example is this gate that I have here. I have the gate keeping track of this stockpile, and I'm saying enter if stockpile contains less than 5. So an ant will come in, it'll go through and has this little arrow, it'll pick up one of these and drop it off here so that only 5 ants will go through, and you can see here when I move this pile over, the arrow shuts off because there are more than 5 in this pile. This is very useful for a lot of systems. I don't utilize it too much, but I do use it for my Regal Guide setup. However, there are definitely a lot of uses that I've seen for it on the subreddit for this game. I also utilize it right here to send ants for my research. The 5th tip is kind of a 2-in-1. It's a little bit silly, but these are a couple things that slipped my mind when I first started playing, and if you have not yet utilized these things, then you definitely need to. So the first thing is, obviously, a lot of people have figured this out, but if you press the space bar, you can pause the game. I don't know why it took me that long to figure out, but it did. The other tip that comes with this is the elder trails. I don't know why it took me so long to find out, but these are very useful. So these guys here are usually at 14 walking speed, but when they're on this, okay, so they're at 10 walking speed, but then when they're on the Elder Trails, they're at 14 walking speed. So they have an increased amount of speed when they're on these Elder Trails, as well as they last a little bit longer. So definitely make sure you unlock these. They're honestly very low on the tech tree and very, very useful. Tip number 6, follow the main objective. There may have been a lot of times that you might have been stuck, or there will be times, sorry, that you'll be stuck and you'll be questioning what is going on. I have no clue where to go next and I'm really not sure, and you may be able to find some tutorials out there. But before you do that, make sure you ask yourself, am I tied behind the main objective? Because I have experienced that quite a bit all the way up till now, unlocking Sentinel Ants, and I realized that I should have just been following the main objective. So don't forget to look at it. Even if it's a very difficult thing to do, you still want to try your best to work towards these objectives, because the game has intended for that. So yeah, good luck with that. Tip number 7 is another tip for people who are starting out. When you first start out, you do not have the 4th island unlocked, and so glass is very hard to come by. So with that said, even though there are perfect systems you can set up for your pod workers, it is still very, very difficult to keep that up. So the 7th tip is don't waste glass. Make sure that you only use what you need, and if you can, try to avoid using the pod workers in the very beginning, just because I have seen many comments on my videos as well as the subreddit that people are running out of glass or getting close to running out of glass before they unlock the 4th island. So with that said, be careful, because you can run out and it can be extremely frustrating at that point. Tip number 8, recycle, recycle, recycle. I don't think there's an ant out there other than the, objective ones, the gines, that you can't recycle. A lot of these ants are actually, they start getting very expensive, and it's just very important that you make sure you recycle them, especially, glass. It's very useful. I'm not sure if the recyclers actually 100% efficiently recycle the ants. However, I have already noticed a huge difference in how much impact they have. One of them recently I've noticed is I've been recycling my hazmats, and now I actually don't have enough room to put them back. Oh, now I do. But it adds up very quick. See, I'm almost full on resin. It's very important that you recycle everything, as resources are limited in this game, and that's just something you have to work with. Tip number 9, I feel like goes without saying, but use grid tiles. Grid tiles are your friend. They are mainly, they're very useful in being efficient and orderly, but also they make your factory look very cool. So there's multiple reasons to use it, but grids help a lot in making sure that everything is as it needs to be, and they also help you understand what you're looking at. So yeah, very useful. I've been using grids for most of my gameplay, and there are a few things that I haven't used them for. Obviously, the plants can't have grids under them. And last but not least, tip number 10 is to breathe. This game can be a little overwhelming sometimes, as any factory game can be. And sometimes you can lose sight of what the game is all about, and that is having fun. And whether having fun for you is, super optimizing everything, or whether fun for you is just placing everything down however you like, the game is about having fun and is about doing what you want to do. So even though I have a lot of tips and tricks for you guys, I do believe that at the end of the day it is solely up to you on what you should do, and you should definitely take your own advice. That is something I have done. There is so many things I could do better. However, I will say that I have thoroughly enjoyed the game a lot more doing it exactly how I would like. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoy the game. There are a lot of unique twists to this game that I haven't seen in other factory games, and a lot of restrictions as well. But I've really honestly enjoyed this game, and here soon I'm actually about to finish it, and I'm gonna have to get creative on what I want to do next. Thinking about maybe doing a mega factory once we finish up, but we'll see. But yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed these tips and tricks. If you guys liked the video, then please hit that like button, and if you guys have any questions or suggestions, then please leave a comment. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.